Welcome to TALRadio. We are now going to listen to Mentor Loop, a career guidance from Roopa Sunku, Chief Evangelist at TAL Career Help. In this week's episode, you would get to know the skill of getting ready for an interview. Interview is not just a conversation. It's the judgment of your skills. So let's hear about the things to be kept in mind while stepping into an interview.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roopa Sunku, and I'm the Chief Evangelist with Touch a Life Foundation. I'm here to bring you another session of Mentor Loop, which are small pieces of podcast that could help you with your career pathing overall. Today, the topic that I would like to discuss with you is interviewing and how you can be prepared to go in for your interview. To start with, there are primarily four pieces or elements in an interview. Interview could be around skills, which would be your industry knowledge, say coding if you are a developer, or writing skills or communication skills if you are a marketing person or a documentation person. So the entire aspect of skill questions can be encountered in an interview. The next set of questions that you will have would be the behavioral questions. The behavioral questions would be on how quick you are about onboarding and self-learning and self-managed you may be, how you are as a team player, how do you work with your manager or your peers or your customers, and including partners will be the behavioral questions that can be asked. Then there is a set of questions that I would frame as situational questions. These questions would be around conflict resolution, escalation management, ability to research, ability to result-oriented, proactive, prioritization of work, knowledge sharing, and succession planning. So those would be the aspects of the situations that you would be encountered in a day-to-day job that may be reviewed. And lastly, but not least, the references that you can provide. They would kind of comprise of questions around who your manager is and what does the manager think of you? What do peers think about you? What are the companies that you have worked with and what have you showcased in each of those companies? How did you perform? What have your salary expectations been so far? And what is it that you anticipate drawing with the new position? So those would be the four indicative sets of questions that you may be working with during an interview. So as you get ready to go in for an interview, the most important piece is to do extensive research on the company itself. Start with understanding what the company is and what parts of the company you are familiar with and you affiliate or associate with. Make sure you understand the culture of the company. Many a times there is the guiding principles or the mission statements within a company webpage that can give you attribute of what the company is looking for and try to match or associate things within your experience that is part of their agenda or their mission, as I mentioned. The second piece of activity that you should always work on, research on the people that you will be interviewing with. Look them up on LinkedIn, look them up on other networking sites to be able to understand who the person is that you're working with. Getting an understanding of the interviewer will give you the ability to answer those questions in a more meticulous fashion and more tailored to the person you're talking to. And then the third point in terms of preparation for an interview is anticipate some of these general questions. They could be both behavioral or situational. So questions that you should probably anticipate and be ready and prepared with an answer that you're comfortable with is, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? What do you know about our company? Why are you thinking about leaving your current job? What interests you about this particular job and position? Can you describe your work style? What do you consider to be your greatest strengths? And what would you think of as your weaknesses? They will also probably ask you around what are your 5-year plans? What are salary requirements that you're looking for? Is there anything that we did not cover and you want to ask in terms of the interviewer? So always take that opportunity to ask that question. Do not leave an interview without asking a minimum of one question. The question, be it generic or more detailed, will indicate and share the interest that you have with the position. Also, kind of taking all of these general questions that will be asked in different forms or shapes, answer with the concept of STAR. And I'll tell you what STAR is. STAR is what is the situation, recap the situation, always associate the tasks that you have done with it, the actions that you have taken in that situation, and the results that you've been able to see from that interaction. So make sure to incorporate situation, task, action, and result, which will be easy acronym for you to remember with STAR. The fourth point in terms of preparedness for an interview is conduct a mock interview with either mentors, family members, friends, or colleagues to just make sure that all of the information for those possibly anticipated questions have a free and a clear format with which you are able to deliver. Make sure to gather feedback from the mock interviews and improve on those. Maybe do a couple or two more rounds so that you can actually make sure that you're confident and certain about how you would like to answer these questions. The other critical piece in a mock interview is to manage your eye contact, your appearance, your enthusiasm, your body language, your listening skill ability, and answering the questions skill ability. Make sure you are definitely correct with the grammar that you're using within all of your answers. Make sure that the organization and its goals and its culture and its operating principles are incorporated into your answer. And overall, make sure you're leaving with a question at minimum asked so that you leave a good impression. Also, the fifth perspective or the fifth preparedness item that I would call out is use the company's products or services. If you have used them, talk about your experience with the usage or that familiarity with that brand. That also ties back very nicely to be able to say, I know who you are, I know what you guys do, and I'd like to be part of that solution. The next aspect of getting prepared for an interview is reviewing your Facebook, your social media postings, and your LinkedIn postings on any of those networking sites, giving the opportunity to share who you are, what you are in a unified manner across all platforms. Because in today's world, people look at who you are, what you are. As you research the company and the interviewers, they will take the opportunity to look at you and your details as well. The seventh point or seventh consideration for interview readiness would be to dress appropriately. Now, with the pandemic, people are a little bit more laxed about Zoom interviews or Meet interviews to not be completely dressed and prepared for the interview. Please do not fall a prey to some of that. Make sure you're crisp. And even if it means that you just wear a shirt and don't worry about your pants and maybe stay in your PJs, that's perfectly all right. But as much as the visibility in the camera is evident, make sure you're staying professional and true to yourself. Make sure you get into the Zoom mode or readiness for your interview, even if it is a virtual, with all your documents in front of you, and give yourself about 5 minutes to push away all those butterflies or the anxiousness before an interview. Get yourself a glass of water and keep yourself calm prior to going into the interview. Make sure you have gathered all your documents as the ninth element to preparedness for an interview. keep a copy of your resume. You never know what is the application tracking system that the hiring manager or the interviewer has been given from your side. So if there is no document when in person, it's easy enough to hand off a resume. But if the resume is not there in their presence, make sure to offer to send it over email really quick or through Zoom chat, giving you an opportunity to share your resume with the interviewer. Make sure you have all your reference information detailed out during the interview so that you are aware of the interviewer's name, email address, so that you can send out a thank you note. And also make sure that they have all the information in the event that they would like to contact you for any further details. So keep all the necessary documents at your fingertips. The 10th and the last piece of information that you need to do and get ready for is a check on sites like Glassdoor to be able to understand what is it that your job is entitled to in terms of remuneration. What are the industry benefits that is given by most of the companies within that segmentation or industry specifications? This information will help you also project and share with the interviewer what you would like to accept as salary and how flexible you are within that whole salary range. Also, make sure to give them what are the factors that make you accept the job, as well as be a good candidate for them to offer you a job. With that, I think you will be ready for your interview. And in conclusion, I would say make sure to keep ready a number of references to be able to provide this and ask for the next steps of this particular interview close and what is it that it would take to get you to the next stage of the interview. Don't forget that thank you letter and while you close on the interview. Wishing you good luck and hope that these 10 points will give you the readiness and preparedness for an interview. And don't forget to do a couple of mock interviews before you go into the actual one. With that, I'd like to invite you to join us at Touch a Life Foundation Career Help program that we have as a mentor or a mentee, and we would love to interact with you to be able to take care of and help you with your career advancements and newer opportunities. Thank you.
You have just listened to The Importance of Interview and the Tips to Conquer It by Roopa Sunku, Chief Evangelist at TAL Career Help. Stay tuned to TAL Radio for many more interesting programs.